You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
On the PRO Media Network.
All right, welcome to Ring Kings Boxing World. Big ups to all the Ring Kings fight family in the building. Big ups to you. I'm Big Q chiming with this latest installment of Ring Kings Boxing World. For the true fight fan, for the true boxing fan, big ups to you guys. Thank y'all for joining us for the latest installment of a slam-packed, jam-packed show full of boxing, man. So many great stories coming at you. From the recap of Devin Haney's bout, along with other news, we got Gary Russell Jr., his thoughts on the fight, Terrence Crawford's upcoming matchup with Kell Brooks, news on Shakur Stevenson and Tyson, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Campbell, all kind of stuff. Slam-packed, jam-packed show full of boxing coming at you on this edition. And as always, I'd like to introduce you to my co-host of Ring Kings Boxing, Eddie Too Mean Johnson. What's up, Too Mean?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
What's going on, my friend? Big ups to you, and welcome to the latest installment of Ring Kings, bro. We got a lot to talk about in this one, Too Mean. I mean, a lot of boxing to talk about in this installment of Ring Kings Boxing. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start off with, of course, the Devin Haney bout with him and Urine Gamboa. He defeated them by a 12-round decision. We seen the fight. Very interesting fight, Too Mean. Devin didn't get him out of there like I anticipated him do. We talked about it. Gamboa did a lot of holding late, but ultimately, it was a decision that went to unanimously to Devin Haney in the 12-round thing. And it's pretty much, what it was in this one. And, like I said, it wasn't, and Gary Russell had his thinking on it, but Gamboa didn't look like he was in great condition. He constantly held. He looked tired. The referee lost his patience with Gamboa in the 11th round. He penalized him for excessive holding. Unfortunately, it didn't change anything as he continued to hold for the rest of the fight. So, I mean, but it was a good fight. We see some good shots by the young Devin Haney. And he looked to try to punish him. He really did try to punish Gamboa, but Gamboa could not stand in the same ring with this man, obviously. But I wanted to see him get Gamboa out of there. But, of course, like we said, all that goddamn holding. The judges scored the contest by Haney, 118-109. 120-107 and 120-107 unanimous decision. Now, Haney landed some left hooks, right hand each, but he didn't have enough power in the punches to hurt Gamboa. But, going into the fight, Haney repeatedly said he wanted to beat Gamboa worse than anybody that's ever beaten him. Didn't happen that way. Haney failed to beat Gamboa better than the three fighters that he was talking about beating him to kind of make a mark there. It was a decent fight. Like I said, Gamboa kind of stole a lot of the thunder with all that goddamn holding. But Ed, what was your interpretation of this fight? We know Haney said he wanted to beat him worse than anybody ever beat him. What you think about that, bro?
Yeah, I think that's the mistake he made. You know what I'm saying? Trying to outdo what other guys did to him. He should have just was on using his skill. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was doing it. You know what I'm saying? He was keeping him on the outside. He's staying off the roof. Or Gamboa couldn't make it no brawl. You know what I'm saying? He had to box. But he definitely ain't going to be able to outbox Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? So, Devin Haney, you know what I'm saying? He just need to work on, like when somebody holding him, how to break his hands loose and bang their body up, still wear him down and stuff, man. So, that's, you know what I'm saying? He got a lot to, you know what I'm saying? He got to work on. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? Gamboa was a crafty veteran. You know what I'm saying? So he just went into survivor mode. He wasn't really trying to win because he's like, I can't outbox this guy. I can't get him on the ropes. What can I do? Freaky deaky. Let me stop. Nah.
So bitch held him to death. That's pretty much what he did. Eh?
That's what motherfucker like, let me hold on. I ain't gonna let this motherfucker knock me out. I can't do nothing else but hold him. So it was a good fight for Devin Haney, regardless of what Gary Russell had to say about it.
Well, we're gonna talk about that too, man, because Actually, we're going to hear from Devin Haney first, then Gary Russell with his thought process after the fight. But here's Devin Haney breaking down his thoughts on the fight. And to be honest with you, like you said, it was a good test for him, and we'll see what happens moving ahead. Here's Haney.
Devin, congratulations. I know you were looking for something spectacular in this fight, but you pitched basically a shutout on two of the judges' scorecards, dominate on the third. What did you think of your performance?
I thought I put in a world-class performance. Of course, I wanted the knockout, but he was a craft veteran. He was doing a lot of holding and, trying to survive. So it is what it is.
We've seen Gamboa get reckless at times, engage at times. You even said yourself during the week, Gamboa is most dangerous when he's hurt. Were you surprised by how he fought you?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I knew that he was going to come in, he was going to be scrappy, and he was going to do anything to survive, and that's what he did.
You mentioned the holding. Gamboa did have a point deducted later in the fight. How challenging was that for you?
It was what it was. I knew coming in that he was going to do a lot of holding. I hit him with big shots, and whenever he was hurt, he would hold and he would get scrappy. But that's just him being a veteran and him knowing how to survive and, being in a lot of big fights.
We're taking a
That's Devin Haney's thought process after the fight, and he's absolutely right. Gamboa was doing a lot of excessive holding. But to me, we was talking about that quickly about what he can do about the holding situation. And you mentioned he can learn a lesson or two from Andre Ward. Elaborate for the fight family.
Oh yeah, Andre Ward. He mad at that. You get somebody hurt and they try to hold on to him. He know how to break his hands loose and bang that body, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Devin Haney take a page from Andre Ward's book. You know what I'm saying? Use that. You know what I'm saying? That he experienced that, and that would stop him from getting a knockout because he didn't really know how to break loose of that holding. You know what I'm saying? When somebody holds you, they have to reach out and grab you, right?
Right.
In a split second, you got to be able to throw a combination within that split second and hit that body, or you know what I'm saying, as he's reaching the grab. You can train for that, so you can master what to do with that too. So he got to go back to the drawing board. You know what I'm saying? Add that to his arsenal so when somebody else try that same shit, because they go like, oh, you can hold him. And so he can't really do much. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, I got something for your ass. You know what I'm saying? Go to the gym and work on that. Master that part of his, his arsenal, man. Or add that to his arsenal.
Yeah, that's something that definitely that he can do, man. He's a young fighter, still a lot of talent, still a lot of stuff to learn, but he's ever so getting better and better. I got to give credit for Devin Haney, but you're absolutely right. To learn that little skill to prevent that from happening in future fights. And of course, toward the back end of the interview, Haney then goes out to call out Teofimo Lopez, looking for big fights. And he said, there's a lot of big fights out there. I showed that I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I want the big fights. I want to make the big fights. Fighting someone like Gamboa was a stepping stone, but I'm here for the big fights. I want the biggest fights to happen and to bring out the best of me. And of course, he talked about shots at Teofimo Lopez, who seems to be the big man on the block since he knocked off Lomachenko, and other possible fights that Devin Haney could look at in the upcoming future. How about Ryan Garcia? Besides Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis is interesting. Vasily Lomachenko is still an interesting fight as well, being that Lomachenko has been dethroned. Perhaps you can make fights with him now where you can get a shot against Lomachenko, Luke Campbell, Luminaris, or Rolando Romero. How about those guys? Very interesting route that Devin Haney could take. Of course, there was a Instagram situation that happened between him and Tank Davis, as well as they were talking about money. These guys are still very young in their head when you listen to them on social media react outside of the ring. It's just sometimes you forget that, being that they're so mature in the ring, that when you see them out in the social media world, you can really tell their age. But anyway, there was one character that wasn't too interested and too happy about and not impressed with the Devin Haney versus Gamboa fight. It was Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Let's hear what he had to say about Devin Haney's bout with Gamboa.
Came on here and said nothing after the fight was because honestly I ain't watched that shit live. I got about 1 million phone calls though. I watched it. I watched it yesterday or last night. Devin boy. You did all this motherfucking talking and you look like some shit. I swear to God, that was the boringest motherfucking fight ever. I don't know why people paid their money to see that shit. You did all this motherfucking rapping. your father ain't know what the fuck to really tell you in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck out of here, shorty. Y'all knew what y'all was doing by sending that bullshit ass term sheet over. Because if you would have sent some correct shit, I would have put you over my knee, shorty, and spanked that ass. I would have spanked that ass the way your daddy's supposed to or should have. Because that shit that you did last night, Saturday with Gamboa, that shit was fucking ridiculous, man. That shit was ridiculous. You know that was unfucking satisfactory to what you gave to yourself and to the motherfucking fans. Ain't nobody want to see that boring ass shit. And it was so funny because the commentators was trying to talk about something, but they couldn't find shit to talk about. One of the commentators said some shit like, either Devin Haney don't hit hard, or Gamboa, he grew a chin. What the fuck type of shit is that? Stop this shit, man. Man, y'all know what time it is, man. Y'all see why the fuck these fighters running. Devin don't want no motherfucking parts of Mr. Gary Russell Jr., nor does Tank Davis. They don't want no motherfucking parts of me. Nor does motherfucker Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm still on Terrence ass. He tried to get quiet, act like a motherfucker supposed to forgot about him. Nah, I'm still on Terrence. But it's cool. I deal with him when I see him. You know what I'm saying? I'm a real face-to-face.
There you go, too mean. That's Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Thoughts. He wasn't too impressed with the Devin Haney fight, and of course, he's still calling out many people. What you think about his comments on?
He trying to force them to fight him and shit. He trying to really get that fight by trying to humiliate them and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what he doing. He trying to get the fight set for them, for him to, you know what I'm saying, go ahead Tank. And Devin Haney, he wants those fights. And Crawford, I think he just, you know what I'm saying, he's talking shit because all them fucking years ago that shit happened and he's still pissed off about it. I'm like, come on, man. You ain't getting no million fucking calls neither. You ain't getting no million calls about that damn Devin Haney and Gamboa fight, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, come on, he making, like I said, he be talking out of his head sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I like Gary Russell Jr. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes he be talking out of the side of his head, man. Yeah,
it's to be honest with you too, man, it look a little interesting, to be honest with you, man. You know, about what's actually going on between those guys is he hasn't found a fighter yet to fight, and he's looking at 2021 to line up his next matchup. And it's a bunch of dudes that he got his eyes set on, and we don't know, from several different classes, I mean, that he's looking at. Everybody from Tank Davis to, you know, Terrence Crawford down to Devin Haney. You have the Burchelt. You got all kind of people, man. You know, you don't know what it is. And of course, I agree with Bud Crawford about him taking care of business in his own backyard, unifying that class. And I think it's about time for him to unify. Gary Russell's a hell of a fighter. He needs to pay attention to, man. He needs to unify where he is, man. Seriously. Before I move on, what do you think about that? Him unifying his own backyard.
Yeah, that's what he should do that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just waiting around, knowing them dudes ain't gonna fight him right now. I'm like, shit, just handle where you at. You know what I'm saying? To conquer that division. And then, you know what I'm saying, then move up to the next one and try to conquer that one. I mean, that's what all the greats did. I mean, you ain't supposed to be like nobody else but yourself, but like I said, man, conquer that division. Get that focus on Lomachenko, who he lost to. You know what I'm saying? He said he was dehydrated and shit. So
that's a good call right there, too, man. I mean, for him to, maybe he can fight Lomachenko. Yeah. He doesn't have a belt right now. Why not?
Right.
Make that right.
Yeah, that'll make his mark into the lightweight division. You know what I'm saying? That'll be his introduction to it. Since Lomachenko in lightweight now, I'm like, okay, move up. Challenge for Lomachenko. You lost to. You know what I'm saying? He said it before he retired. He said he got to have that fight back again. You got to run that back.
You got an opportunity now, too, man, because not too much is going on with Lomachenko right now. Is he looking for an opportunity to have a belt fight or get an opportunity to get back to fighting? Because according to what was said. He's not going to get an opportunity to fight belts again. He's not going to give him a rematch, and we'll just see how it shake. Boxing is such a funny sport, I'll tell you what, man. But anyway, let's move into the next one. We're going to talk about the Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook matchup that's coming up this weekend. It was interesting as Kell Brook's taking his fight. He hadn't fight at the welterweight weight at some times. Terrence Crawford is at the top of his game. He was looking for a serious candidate or a potential person who he could put on to kind of knock the rust off, so to speak. He has not been fighting fighters over the last several years who are up to his level. This guy was a pretty good welter when he fought at that size. He went higher, and now he's coming back because this will be one of the, if not the last few opportunities that a guy like Kell Brook would get. So former champion, we'll see how he responds. Although I say Terrence Crawford is a little bit too much, but in boxing, you never know. But let's break down the tape and listen to what Kell Brook had to say about this upcoming fight. Then we'll play Terrence Crawford.
I expect fireworks. I've been here before, been on this stage. I've been in there with pound for pound top fighters in Golovkin and Errol Spence. I ripped the title away from Sean Paul in America. I know what it takes to be champion.
Thank you very much, Kell. And we've got a bunch of people in the chat. So again, raise your hands.
Don't sound too confident to me.
Ask questions or privately message me, and I'll get to as many questions as possible. So we are going to start with J.R. Bell. J.R., please unmute and ask a question when ready, sir.
All right there, Kell. Given the thing here with the circumstances about travel restrictions, if I'm not mistaken, you don't have your head trainer available. So how is it not having your head trainer coming over to Las Vegas for this particular fight?
The job is going to get done regardless, and I'm in with a super top trainer who's going to be one of the best trainers in the world after I beat Terrence and Carlos Fermento. We've been going through the game plan day in, day out. We know what we need to do in this fight. And I'm fit, I'm lean, I'm a fighting machine ready to go. And been working every day on what I need to do against someone like Terrence. So, I've been in this sport for 25 years. I know what I need to do, I've been world champion. I know what it takes to be the best. So, I'm ready to go.
That's Kell Brook. He's saying he's ready to go. He's ready to fight. He definitely looks lean and mean when you look at the pictures of him training, switching trainers like he did. It all seems kind of crazy how he did it with that limited time frame. But I mean, I don't know. You fighting a fighter. This is one of the best in boxing right now. This guy Crawford is awesome. He's orthodox and southpaw. He can switch up, hit you with different styles. Really intelligent fighter. And sometimes I see he gets bored. The last several fights, it seems like he was bored. And definitely against the Mean Machine until the Mean Machine gave him a shot to wake him up. Against Benavidez, that was just something that Benavidez was talking mess to him. He just beat Benavidez's ass. That's all I can say about it as well. And even though Benavidez talked about Terrence Crawford, he hits like a pillow, but the pillow was enough to knock his ass out. But anyway, let's listen to what Terrence Crawford had to say about his upcoming bout with Mr. Kell Brooks. Here is Crawford.
Oh man, training's been great this camp. Everything has went according to plan, and we looking to go out there and look spectacular come Saturday.
Thank you very much, Terrence. And we are going to start the question portion of this with Keith Idek from Boxing Scene. So Keith, please go ahead when ready. You should be unmuted, sir.
Hey, Terrence, I'm not sure if you heard any of what Kell Brooks said earlier, but he said in a quote that he was either going to stop you or make you quit on your stool. What is your response to that?
Well, let's see. Words don't mean nothing. You're going to have to really, really live up to them words that you actually saying you're going to do.
Does it surprise? I don't remember hearing people say that about you when they got into the ring, before they got into the ring with you. Did it surprise you that he said that?
No.
Terrence, over here.
That's the end of the interview right there. Crawford talked about it, but Eddie, you heard what he said. Kell Brooks said he was going to stop him or make him quit on his stool. You can't say anything even more so to piss a man off. What you think about them comments that he made to Terrence Crawford?
Talking shit. You know damn well he ain't gonna make no damn Crawford quit. You know what I'm saying? Knock him out or quit on the stool. You know he ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? I hope they tested for steroids, man. That nigga look juiced up.
You thinking he's juicing to me?
Yeah, I think he's juiced up, man. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at him all bulked up and shit. You know what I'm saying? But he, like I said, he a front runner, man. You know what I'm saying? He can dish it out for the first half of the fight. But when he start getting chopped on in the second half, he showed that he quits. Or they throw the towel in on to save his ass, man.
Well, he's saying stuff like that to mean that he gonna stop him or make him quit on the stool. That's really insulting, man. I've not heard a fighter talk to Terrence Crawford like that. I never heard that before.
Well, somebody when they talk to him like that just bring a whole nother beast out of Terrence Crawford.
I know.
He gonna fuck him up a lot worse.
So what's your call on this fight, too, mean? We're looking at both these guys going at it. Crawford's 36-0 with 27 knockouts. Kell Brooks 39-2 with 27 knockouts. So with that being said, head toe to toe, who wins this one? What do you think goes on?
I think Terrence Crawford gonna win by a unanimous decision or a late stoppage. That's how the fight gonna go. He gonna box him like the first half of the fight, and you know what I'm saying, tagging his body and his head and shit and wearing him down and giving him different looks. And he's gonna switch the gears up on him like in the second half and start touching that body a lot more harder shots. Try to get him to force him to make mistakes, get over anxious so he can open up more.
Mm-hmm.
And he gonna that's when he's gonna start taking over, and they're gonna wind up probably stopping it.
Yeah, well, look like it'll be a stoppage, but in favor of Terrence Crawford, man. And arguably, I think he pissing. You don't say that type, but just play the respect game. And you know, you can see the body language in the interview with Kell Brooks that he don't believe what he's talking about, man. I mean, I could tell he definitely doesn't. Moving ahead, Terrence Crawford is in line to fight either Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence Jr. in 2021, says Bob Abrams, coming from ESPN. Of course, he has the first to take care of business against Kell Brook. But Crawford and his team are aiming big. Top-ranked CEO Bob Abrams told ESPN on Friday that he only has two names in mind for Crawford's bout after Brook: WBA champion Manny Pacquiao or the IBF and WBC champion Errol Spence, and plans on making one of them happen in the first half of 2021. Crawford is the WBA welterweight champion, told ESPN in April that his ideal fight plan would be to fight Pacquiao first, then Spence, but he would love to face them both. The next fight is going to be, as far as I can control things, we're not going to fool around. It's going to be Pacquiao or Spence, told by Bob Arum. He also said they had a deal early this year for Crawford to fight Pacquiao in Qatar, but the country Ministry of Health backed out because of the C-19 situation. He anticipates revisiting that deal if the situation improves or if there is a vaccine in 2021. Arum indicated Crawford, Pacquiao, and both promotion sides were happy with the money before the fight was squashed. He has little doubt that a bout could be made if they receive C-19 clearance in the Middle East next year. Arum believes that Spence bout is less dependent on C-19 because it can be made in the United States. He suggests AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, or Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, as the two options have the fight with a limited spectators and receive a good gate. Spence, 26-0 with 21 knockouts, will fight former two-division champion Danny Garcia, who's 36-2 with 21 knockouts, on December the 5th on Fox PPV. If both Crawford and Spence win their fights, which a lot of people anticipate they will, Arum can picture them squaring off in spring 2021. Arum said that Crawford wants increased revenue from the minimum on his top-ranked contract, and that will only come if he fights Pacquiao or Spence. Now, Crawford, Pacquiao, or Crawford Spence bout in 2021 is exciting because it would quench the thirst of boxing fans who have spent years asking for the bouts. There's little doubt either would one of the most anticipated fights of the year would draw plenty of viewers. Arum said he wasn't worried that Crawford could leave Top Rank for PBC once his deal is up, and noted that due to the money involved, it would needed to be a two-promotion deal rather than PBC's Al Heyman taking it on himself. And that's a part of it. And of course, We've been saying this for years about the welters, and we'd love to see a undisputed welterweight a champion. That can happen next year. And of course, the paths are narrowing to me, because if you look at what Terrence Crawford is doing, he has Kell Brooks, who I think he'll dispatch him within 7-8 rounds. And of course, you have the same with Errol Spence, which I think he ultimately knock out Danny Garcia. So these two guys are on the crash course. Pacquiao, whoever get Pacquiao first, one guy could wait on the other, even though Pacquiao is a PBC fighter. And right now, Pacquiao in line to go after Conor McGregor and fight him for a money fight. Freddie Roach revealed that Pacquiao has 2 fights left in him. One is obviously he's trying to get the big money fight with McGregor. And of course, the other fight could be a unification bout with either Spence or Crawford. So the champions are narrowly focusing to the worlds are coming together. As before, these fighters are running from each other, but there's nowhere to go. These fighters are on a collision course with each other, and we'll see how it shakes. To me, what do you think about Pacquiao, Crawford, and Spence for 2021?
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I don't think that fight's gonna happen. Them fights with Pacquiao is not gonna happen. I'm like, what sense do that make for him to go against them young, hungry lions like that and possibly get hurt? I mean, I respect Pacquiao, but he old, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Even Floyd Mayweather would say, man, I'm not fighting on young, hungry lions like that. Like, that don't make sense. That's how you get hurt, man. So I think that's just talk. I don't know. I don't think them fights gonna ever happen. But I do believe Spence and Crawford will eventually, you know what I'm saying, they can iron out the, you know what I'm saying, whatever they need to iron out to make that fight happen. But as far as Pacquiao, no, I don't think that them fights gonna come on.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. And I didn't think he would take on and do what he did to Thurman. But that's a whole nother level when you talk about fighters, when you talk about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Those are the elite welters right there. And, of course, Pacquiao's there. But, man, could you see him in there banging with Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford? I mean, that's just – you might have a point on that. But it could be something for his legacy to go out as a unifying the titles of trying to beat either Crawford or Spence. We'll see how it shakes, but I know that's the money fight for McGregor that he's looking for. I don't know how bad of money that he's in need of money, because after he retires, he's going to run for president or whatever it is in this native country. So we'll see how Pacquiao does it, man. But the roads are narrowing, man. I'm telling you, and we're getting ever closer to that welterweight unification, true unification champion that we've been sought after all of rigmarole in the welters for so many years. Okay, let's move on to our next discussion. Shakur Stevens. That's right. Shakur Stevens is back on the docket. He's to fight Toka Khan Clary in December the 24th, headliner on ESPN. Now, Shakur Stevens will fight Toka Khan Clary in the main event of a December 12th card on ESPN. Top Rank's Carl Moretti announced on Tuesday. Top Rank announced last week that Stevenson would headline the card to get yes to be named opponent. And Stevenson, 23, vacated his WBO featherweight championship in July to move up to junior lightweight in hopes of bigger challenges. In Khan Clary, Stevenson will face a southpaw, something Moretti said that Top Rank wanted because it would like to match Stevenson with fellow Top Rank southpaw Vasily Lomachenko, or work out a deal with Golden Boy southpaw IBF junior lightweight champion Jojo Diaz in 2021. Bob Arum also said last week he expects Stevenson to challenge the winner of the scheduled January bout between Jamil Herring and Carl Frampton for the WBO junior lightweight title. Now, Khan Clary, who's 28-2 and 19 knockouts, is on a three-fight winning streak, losing a competitive unanimous decision to Kid Galahad in 2018 junior lightweight title eliminator. But Clary notched a 7-round knockout of journeyman Jonathan Perez last month, and Shakur Stevens, a young talent fighter, it's a great matchup, said Khan Clary. He says, I'm a little older with more experience. We got fast hands, good footwork, but I think power and experience will be on my side. A lot of the guys have been fighting, have been standing in front of him and pressuring him. They haven't been using their jabs, so I look forward to doing this on the 12th. Big talk, big talk, big talk. Indeed, we know that Shakur Stevens is one of those terrific young lions that you speak about, Tumeen, in this fight up against Toka Khan Clary. You better watch out because Stevenson is no joke. What you thinking on this one?
Shakur Stevens, he's the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them don't want to mention his name, but they, you know what I'm saying? whoever he get up in the ring with, man, he gonna outbox him. Period. That's the type of dude he is. He can fight his ass off. You know what I'm saying? He got heart, he got everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything you can look for in the fighter, man. He got it. Yeah, sure. I don't see nobody beating him no time soon.
Shakur Stevens, an interesting matchup, bro. No doubt about it. He's one of my favorite young, hungry lions that's out there fighting along with the Charlo boys. A lot of really good young fighters out there that we're watching. And Shakur Stevens is definitely a star coming up in the weight classes. So we'll see how that shakes. I'm looking forward to him dominating this guy, well, and displaying what he really could do. Let's move on to the next news note. Got a lot left to go here. We're going to talk about Tyson Fury. That's right, heavyweight talking. As Tyson Fury rips Deontay Wilder's claims of cheating. And his words was, quote, he's lost his marbles, end quote. I don't think so, Tyson. I think you have a reputation of being a cheater. He's definitely that. I think he's lost his marbles. That's what Tyson Fury said, shooting down Wilder's claim that he cheated during the February rematch, saying Wilder just can't accept that he got his ass kicked. 2 weeks ago, Wilder didn't mince words, accusing Tyson Fury of hiding weights in his gloves to increase the impact of his punches during the February 22nd fight. And, of course, remember the pre-fight, Deontay Wilder kidded Tyson Fury by calling him a big mama who has pillows for fists. Well, I guess that hit home in Deontay Wilder's. He had, according to Deontay's interview, he put what he called egg weights in his gloves. And he says, I highly believe you put something hard in your glove, Wilder said on the video, something the shape and size of an egg weight. Wilder believes the foreign object caused his face to swell up in the shape of an egg weight and left a dent in my face as well. And there is medical proof that's showing that he had a dent in the side of his face. WBC doesn't want to look at it. Suleiman created a super cruiserweight division that at 224, where it just puts Deontay Wilder right in that division and pushes and pulls him away from Tyson Fury, because they're pushing Tyson Fury and Joshua together for a super fight. So all these greedy bastards can make big money. So they move Deontay Wilder out of the way as slick and smooth as they can, and then deny, and then have a ton of these assholes to come out against Deontay Wilder and call him crazy and call him all kind of names, but none of them will keep it real and admit to you this what type of shit going on in the world of boxing. And I've told you this before in the last show. I'm not going to go on a tirade because I got too many goddamn stories to cover. But boxing is one of the dirtiest fucking sports out there. I'm going to keep telling y'all that. And you got all these garbage ass fighters coming against Deontay Wilder because they don't want to lose their careers. But see, this the type of stuff where you're supposed to start your own fight club and get away from people that do that type of stuff. Because listen, he called his Breland and said Breland was a part of it. But what about the fucking referee? He feels the gloves before they fight. So if that's the case, why didn't the referee catch the egg weight in there? Because obviously he hit him with something in his head that caused a dent, and he didn't take his glove off during the fight to put something in it. He had whatever he had in there, and the referee felt the gloves before they fight and still let it happen. So the referee was more part of this thing as well. So, I mean, he calls out his own teams. And remember the guy that he watched put the wraps on Tyson Fury's hands and Tyson Fury's gloves on his hand was Jay Diaz. Strangely enough, Jay Diaz still has a job. So I don't understand how you say Breland was at fault, but Jay Diaz, who watched him put the tainted gloves on, isn't. And how about the referee who felt them up as well? So like I said, and the fact that whoever collected the gloves after the fight should have seen the weight as well, which means that it's just not your corner, man. This is a whole grand scheme because the WBC is guilty as hell too. The way they acting. They created a cruiserweight division to pull a super cruiser to pull Deontay Wilder away from Tyson Fury to lead up to a fight between him and Anthony Joshua. That's how cold this game is. But you can do all of that and ignore all of the evidence and all of the charges about Tyson Fury with cheating allegations, dealing with him in tainted beef where he's supposed to pay the farmer off, and then he stiffed the farmer. The farmer then came out, blew the whistle on him. Remember that? That was a part about it. The stuff that why he really didn't get the rematch with Vladimir Klitschko after that match, the rematch, he was kicked out because of for steroids and not cocaine. So, I mean, that's a part of it. And all this other stuff that they can ignore. Remember, there wasn't just Glovegate 2. There was Glovegate 1 where his gloves were suspect as hell. But they can't look. Everybody and his mama can look at the tape and see the gloves flopping around, bending, dented. But it doesn't exist. Oh, he's crazy. He's lost his marbles. I'm telling you, the boxing game is a very dirty, corrupt, rotten ass sport where people take falls for money. There's an article we're going to cover showing you that the dirtiness of some fighters taking falls in the Luis Ortiz thing. To me, I know that was a lot to unpack. What do you think about Tyson Fury's? He's lost his marble allegations.
Just reading what everybody else is saying and just capitalizing off of that. You know damn well he cheated, man. I had no respect for him. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But his record, him, you know what I'm saying, him cheating and with the gloves and all that shit, man. He's supposed to be the Gypsy King. You know what I'm saying? Supposed to be one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, but he cheating. Like I said, I'll give him his props as far as his boxing skill. Nobody big like him move like he do. You know what I'm saying? He got skill, but you know what I'm saying, that shit just takes away from, you know what I'm saying, takes away from his skill, man, and him get caught cheating and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I lost respect for him.
Yeah, this is terrible, man. This is terrible. Tyson Fury is just sad, man. But a lot of people believe him.
Yeah, and those who believe him, you know what I'm saying, they something wrong with them. They lost their fucking marbles. You know what I'm saying? They're looking at these damn video footage and shit, like they know goddamn well, as long as they've been in boxing, that no gloves ain't supposed to be flipping and flopping like that and bend it like that. Ain't no fucking way in the world, man. They should know better than that. Like, come on, man.
Well, we know what time it is because obviously, I mean, it's so much movement going on. How they changing it, how they not even investigating it, and just looking at it. Then the guy who had took pictures of the gloves, taking his whole little gallery down. The farmer that they were asking about, he doesn't want to really talk about it anymore. I mean, it's just amazing, man, the lengths of how these people go. But they're looking for a super fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua as soon as possible. So moving Deontay Wilder out of the way by hook or crook, and it's Deontay Wilder's own fault. He should have came out in the first matchup when he knew there was funny business going on with the gloves and what was going on, but he didn't talk about it because he won. Now he comes out way later after his brothers dropped the information, and he comes out with no evidence. And of course, there are reports coming out, and I don't know how true they are, talking about Deontay Wilder's trying to sue the WBC and all that. We'll see how that shakes, man, because miss me with all the talk. Let's see some litigation. You know, if you really believe that, let's see some litigation. Let's get something going on. Let's get an independent counsel to come in and take a look at all this stuff and examine his head and see what could have caused that type of dent, because he didn't walk in the ring with that. And I'm pretty sure the doctors examine these fighters before they go into the fight, and then after the fight to determine what's going on with him. He was laid up like a stiff after the fight. His hair was cut. He had a dent on side his face. He was discombobulated. And if they drew piss and blood from this man and they tested it, they should have found a substance in there that will corroborate his story. We have to get to the bottom of that. Deontay Wilder has all that. He has to hire the litigation team and begin the process of suing the WBC. And if that is, I hope all of them are arrested and thrown out of there and discredited, because this is the type of stuff that dirty, corrupt organizations do. I'm keeping it real with you. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Deontay Wilder likely to get his first crack at the new WBC Super Cruiserweight title, which is what I just told you. The WBC is moving closer to a shot at becoming Deontay Wilder. And I'm pretty sure Wilder's not interested in doing this, but he's even though before he said that he would think about going down to a cruiserweight and then hold on to the heavyweight and fight as a cruiserweight and heavyweight, being that nobody done that. He said that before. I don't think he'll do that now. But the WBC is creating a new limit, which is 224, I think it is, which would be, it would be interesting to see. And I don't know, man. It's strange how they creating it just for the WBC. They didn't go over this with the rest of the boxing organization, but they're looking at a super cruiserweight division where you have to be over 200 pounds to fight there. So between 200 and 224 or 225, whatever it is, that's where you'll find guys like Deontay Wilder or guys like Alexander Usyk to fight in the new super cruiserweights. And then you have the heavyweight division with guys at 224 and above. Anything to get Deontay Wilder out of the way. And that's what the WBC is attempting to do, because they want that money from that super fight between Fury and Joshua, who they think will make some huge money. So this is a network thing anyway to get this to happen, because they didn't think about it like this. Remember the Tyson Fury fight when he fought the guy, and then the guy cut him across his eye. He was bleeding profusely, and the fight should have been stopped. But you have guys like Teddy Atlas who stepped there and watched the fight, and then said said nothing of the fact that Tyson was bleeding profusely, and the ring doctor should have stopped the fight right there because it was horrible. He was bleeding all over the place. They allowed the fight to happen because they could not have Tyson Fury losing that fight. That means they would have lost out on that mega deal between Top Rank and ESPN. They wouldn't have got that big super fight. So see how these things are manipulated? It's sad, man, because any other fight that would a fighter bleeding like that, they would have stopped that fight. They let Tyson Fury bleed like that and keep that fight because they could not afford him to lose. Let's keep it going. Mike Tyson confesses to using prosthetic penis with child urines to pass drug tests. And you're not going to tell me that the fucking boxing game ain't dirty? These and this is some of the information I'm just picking out. This is current stuff that happened, by the way, which I'm just trying to show you that this is document that even though this is old news, Mike Tyson is telling you this is what he did to pass drug tests. Come on, a fake penis with child urine in it, the past drug test. Tyson Mysteries might need a reboot just to dive into Iron Mike's adventures with drug test administrators. The youngest heavyweight champion of all time detailed his use of a Wizinator in conversation with Jeff Nowitzki, the vice president of athlete health and performance for the UFC ahead of his 8-round expedition against Roy Jones Jr. at Staples Center. The exhibition match will be sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, having thorough medical examinations and be replete with Nevada performing the WBC's clean and box program out of the competition, and anti-doping testing for both fighters. With a joint in hand, Tyson, who is the proprietor of a cannabis company, Tyson Ranch, and also uses the Toad, a 5-Mio.DMT, dive deeper into his encounters with drug tests on the podcast Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. He said, quote, "It was awesome, man. I put my baby's urine in it, and sometimes one time I was using my wife, and my wife's like, baby, he says, baby, you better not hope that it comes back pregnant or something." And I said, nah, so we ain't going to use you anymore. We're going to use the kid because I got scared that the piss might come back pregnant, end quote. The drug czar Nowitzki responded, "I think that's what happened before. A male provided a urine sample and it came back and they said, sir, you're pregnant. Either you're pregnant or there's somebody else's urine." Tyson said, "That was what I was afraid of. I guess I heard it is happening because I was afraid of that." Nowitzki asked, "Did you have the right color Wizinator? Because there was that the NFL guy last season with a white one." He said, hell yeah. I had a brown one. This guy was so effing King Macho, he was scared. I whipped it out. He was like turning. I said, "Hey man, take the effing cup." This macho guy, he didn't want to look at me, and you know what? So this is some of the stuff that he's talking about now, because pretty much he don't have that to worry about, I imagine. And he probably high talking about it anyway. But the reality is, this is more proof of what boxers do. They're dirty, and this is how they pass tests. You're going to sit up here and tell me this is what the boxers do? Just imagine what the organizations do. This is the side that they deny. Oh, that can't be happening. This is for all these fucking fools out here that I'm just trying to document and show you that it ain't these professional sports. A lot of dirty shit happen that you don't know. So don't discount Deontay Wilder's claim so soon. Too mean. What your thoughts on this?
Oh yeah, a lot of them guys, man, taking them sports enhancement drugs, man. They just ain't be getting caught because they real slick with it, like what Tyson revealed. Like all them guys, man. Like David, what's it, Galala, when he fought Riddick Bowe. Riddick, ain't no way in the world motherfucker take that type of punches like that and not get hurt by him. Unless he juiced the fuck up or something. Holyfield too, he got caught out there. Sugar Shane Mosley, all these guys, man, they get caught. They don't. So once in the blue moon they get caught though. Only a handful of them get caught out there like that. But most of them guys out there doing that shit, man.
Absolutely, and you're right, to me. And that's what I was saying, man. It's a case where it's showing you that cheating happens on both sides. And the organizations just cheat bigger.
Yeah, another thing, or Mayweather was promoting the cleaning the sport up because he knows there's a lot of dirt shit out there. Or people taking the sports enhancement drug. That's why he always had random urine and blood tests throughout the training camp and everything. You know what I'm saying? Because he know what type of sport it is. And just like a lot of them guys out there that's laughing at Deontay Wilder making his claim, they know fucking well what goes on, man. They know what the fuck be going on. And try to pretend like, you know what I'm saying, like they don't know. Bullshit, man.
Go to see you. Tyson is putting it out there that stuff like that happens, man. Very wild story. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Alexander Povetkin is out of the hospital, and a rematch with Dylan White is on for January the 30th. So, of course, Povetkin won't have much time to prepare for White's rematch if his training camp starts in December. It may not take Povetkin much time to get ready for White, as he already knows how to beat him. Earlier this month, Povetkin, 36-2-1 with 25 knockouts, shocked the world with a stunning fifth-round knockout of heavyweight favorite Dillian White, who's 27-2, 18 knockouts on August 27 in essence. Now, rather than walk away from the loss, White has stubbornly decided to get back in there with Povetkin. You got to make it right. 41 for a second try. That carrot that White is trying to snatch from the 04 Olympic gold medalist Povetkin is a WBC mandatory position that he previously had. If White can grab that spot, his promoter Hearn will likely try to press the World Boxing Council to force WBC champion Tyson Fury to defend against Dillian in the first quarter of 2021. The chances of that happening are slim, but you never know, because they're trying to press the unification situation next year for Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. With the WBC create new belts in the bridgeweight 224-pound division, it's quite possible that he could grant Hearn his wish to order Fury to face White. But before anything like that can happen, White needs to beat Povetkin, and that's going to be difficult. We saw from the previous White-Povetkin fight, Dylan is wide open for uppercuts. Joseph Parker, Oscar Rivas, and Joshua put White down with uppercuts. Povetkin obviously studied those fights and capitalized on White's vulnerability to that punch. Since White hasn't learned from his past fights, Povetkin can count on being able to land his uppercuts with impunity. The reason why White can't protect himself from uppercuts is his entire game is centered on him leaning forward so that he can throw his hooks and uppercuts, which are his bread and butter punches. Now, to me, we talked about Dillian White can't protect against the uppercut. It's true. He's suspect to it. We seen a recent fight, not a recent fight, but the fight with Oscar Rivas. Well, I think Oscar Rivas won that fight, in my opinion. I think they cheated him. That most certainly was a unanimous decision. It wasn't. You can't. That wasn't right. But Oscar Rivas tucked his ass underneath. Povetkin knocked the piss out of him. Joshua did the same thing. So what could we see? Because it's hard. Because the thing about Dillian White is he talks so much shit, and the fact that he's such an incomplete fighter. You know, he does some things well, but he has zero fucking head movement. He's big, sloppy, and plotting at times. I think he should do better at throwing punches and bunches. But, you know, he was smaller when he fought Anthony Joshua. But, of course, we know that he had several steroid allegations as well because he plumped up. But with the plumping up, he lost a lot of his agility, a lot of his head movement. He's just basically a standing fucking target, man. Whoever, I'm going to take your punches, and you just beat him dumb. I mean, so what do you think what happens with the Povetkin and Dillian White fights? Does Povetkin do the same thing he did in the first fight?
Yeah, I think, he going to wind up catching him again. But, you know what I'm saying, if you don't get enough time to properly prepare for that fight, and depending on what Dillian White is doing right now, if he's in camp or training, you know what I'm saying, staying consistent with his training until this fight happens, you know what I'm saying, he might be able to get Povetkin out of there, because he had him, but he just, you know, seeing like that uppercut, that surprise. You know, I mean, you look at fights, not many uppercuts are thrown anyway. They're throwing the 1-2s or the jab, the right hand, the hook. You know, so very, very rarely you see people throw the uppercut. So it's a surprise when people do get hit with it. They don't see it coming. So a lot of them do get knocked out by them uppercuts. You know, so yeah, you know what I'm saying. It could happen if Povetkin is properly prepared. You know what I'm saying? The same thing can happen again. He can catch him with that uppercut, knock him out again.
And that's true. He does, and that's the point of the head movement looming, trying to put his weight on you. And that's the thing about Dillian White. If he threw, if a little bit more head movement, a little bit more, well, actually a lot more head movement and a lot more movement, but he just plops down and he tries to overbell you, and he has decent punch distribution. But I just think that, you know, him leaning over you like that, I think sooner or later Povetkin will catch him with a shot. I mean, it's just asking him to change his style in that short amount of time It's not going to happen. Those old habits die hard. And Povetkin, who's a smart, crafty fighter, who has power in both fists, will zing your fucking ass. And I think that's probably what's going to end up happening to him. But you never know. Dylan White will probably try to stay away from him, from keeping him from getting up under him, which is he does have the reach on Povetkin. And maybe he'll fight him smarter to keep him away from him. So we'll see how it shakes up. It's on for January the 30th. If he doesn't beat Povetkin, I think pretty much his bullshit career is going to be over with, because he's been chasing Anthony Joshua down for a while for a match, and I don't see it happening, man. I really don't. Okay, let's move on to Alexander Flores. $80,000 purse withheld following his 45-second KO loss to Luis Ortiz. That's right, I said it. Luis Ortiz's last bout was this past weekend against a bum-ass taxi driver named Alexander Flores. And Flores, of course, got knocked down in the match. That's right, he got knocked down 45 seconds into the match. And then you know what that did? It rung up red flags across the athletic commission. So what they did was the CSAC wants the 30-year-old Flores, and that's the California State Athletic Commission, is reportedly withholding Flores' money, the 80 G's that he was supposed to get from the fight with Ortiz Saturday night in Los Angeles. According to them, the California State Athletic Commission, they want Flores to attend a hearing with them to answer questions about that loss. Now, for Flores, it's 18-3-1 with 16 knockouts, was another quick defeat. But if you look at the fight and how he got hit in the side, the punch never landed square. And then the way he went down was not consistent with the punch was thrown. Then when he gets up, it's almost like the shot was from him getting hit in the head, which was on the side. He didn't clutch his stomach or his side or nothing. He just went and pretended like he was hurt. It was obviously he tanked the fight for the money. That's what it was. You can see it, and that's why the California State Athletic Commission is calling him in. Big credit for them for catching that shit. But once again, another news article showing you about what goes on in boxing. This is a clear cut. We just talked about Mike Tyson taking piss tests with a fake penis, with a prosthetic penis. And we also talked about, now we're talking about a crummy ass fighter who went down 45 seconds into the fight. And now you have the athletic commission holding his money because they suspecting that it was a fix, which it was if you look at the footage. Now, to me, you've seen that fight, man. This was absolutely ridiculous, the way he did it, the way he clutched over, the way he looked like he was hurt. And it was pathetic, man. What do you seen this bullshit stuff? What do you think about it?
I think they should brush it up under the rug like they did with Tyson Fury, man. Even though they got video footage of him faking the phone. You know what I'm saying? They let fucking Tyson Fury get away with that shit. Let him get away with this shit too, man. You want to let people get away with shit. You know what I'm saying? Give him his fucking money. It's like you gave Tyson Fury his fucking money for the cheating shit he do. And fuck that bullshit, man.
And that's something that it's absolute, but this is more documented proof about dirty fighters in the business and dirty things happening. But let them other asshole fighters tell you, ain't nothing going on here. That's not so that doesn't happen. No corruption can happen. And here I am documenting you current stories about corruption on the side of the fighters and inside the organizations.
Yeah, they took 45 seconds to figure that shit out. And they can't, all the footage, the video footage and all this shit going on with Tyson Fury, they can't figure that out. They can't launch their investigation.
Great point.
Come on.
Great point. Because what they had on Tyson Fury, to me, they had several dozen angles from all around the ring to establish that. And you take a look at this bum ass fighter, Flores, and how he went down. It was obviously a bad fall. He was totally terrible in it. So obvious. And hopefully they take his boxing license out and ban him from the sport for doing it. Hopefully they do it. And what's justice for Tyson Fury? He'll eventually get his. Mikey Garcia says he's interested in fighting Tank Davis and Teofimo Lopez at 140. Now, of course, the Black Hat saying he's moving down to 140 for fights against Tank Davis and Teofimo Lopez. If either of them ever moves to the weight class, Mikey says he won't move back to 135 to fight them. Tank and Teofimo might be too young, too powerful, and too active for Mikey, who doesn't appear to be a top fighter anymore. Mikey has been resting on his past accomplishments the last couple of years, and he'll never win another title for the remainder of his career. Garcia's 40-1 with 30 knockouts, is currently campaigning as a welterweight. He's going to be attempting to set up a fight against WBA welterweight champion Manny Pacquiao in 2021. Mikey sees it as a great fight and an excellent style matchup between them. I would actually love to see a Pacquiao and Mikey Garcia fight, I think, that might actually work for Pacquiao and Garcia because we'll see how that shakes, man. But that's interesting. This could be a wild card because a lot of people's targeting Manny. We covered the story about Bob Arum talking about getting either Pacquiao or Spence for 2021. You have Mikey Garcia trying to set it up for 2021. You also have a Team Spence that's looking at it, and he's on PBC. So we'll see how that all shakes in the long run. But Mikey says he will stay at 147 until he gets his money fight with Pacquiao. Once that fight is over with, Mikey will have pretty much exhausted the money fights available to him in that division. He already fought the IBF welterweight champion Errol Spence last year and lost to him badly. If Mikey loses to Pacquiao too, his record would be 1-2 at 147, and he'd have the hard time trying to talk talented fighters like Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia on Sean Porter into fighting him. I don't think so. I think Danny Garcia, after this loss, or Sean Porter would fight a talented fighter like Mikey Garcia. But this division, it might be a little too much for him. Well, Errol Spence was a big jump from where he came from to fight him, and he just got a boxing lesson. There's no chance of Mikey moving down to 140 and fighting world title against champions Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. And those two are top ranked. So it's not a good situation for Mikey lining up fights against either of them because he was with the promotional company a year ago. So the Black Hats looking like not too much happening with Mikey Garcia since he made that move. But we'll see how it all shakes in. To me, the Black Hat having problems finding the next fight. How do you see this?
Yeah, like I said, time will tell. But I don't know. I think, I would like to see him in Pacquiao fight. But I don't know if that's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that fight will ever happen, though. I mean, they talking about it, but until the contract is signed, you know what I'm saying, there's no fight, man.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do like the Pacquiao and Garcia bout, but the issue is with Mikey is money. Bob Arum is going to try to get Pacquiao in the fight for big money. And it will be interesting because I know Errol Spence's plan is to fight Pacquiao next after he beats Garcia. And Bob Arum, like I said, is trying to push that fight. But El Heyman has both Pacquiao and Spence. So it's likely El Heyman gets his decision over with Bob Arum, who wants it to happen, who's with top ranks with Errol Spence. So, with a Crawford. So it'll be interesting to see, but we'll just have to watch on it, man, and see a lot of things shaking. People want Pacquiao. They won't unify the welters. It's basically coming down between Crawford because it'd be interesting. If I was Bob Arum, I'm going after Manny Pacquiao because what it does is it forces Errol Spence to see me because Crawford would then capture two of the 4 belts while there was only the other belt. Spence has the other 2. Pacquiao has 1. Crawford has 1. If he can line up the fight, Crawford that is, against Manny Pacquiao, then he can get the extra belt. Then you have 2 of those guys with the belts in the welters, and it'll be a collision course between Crawford and Spence in the welterweight. Eventually, that's going to happen. Hopefully, a lot of people saying this in 2021. We'll just see how it goes, man. And like you said, time will tell. And of course, the final story of a jam-packed, slam-packed night of boxing talk here is, of course, Luke Campbell. He tests positive for C19. The Ryan Garcia fight is postponed. Now, Campbell's promoter, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom, says that he's already completed isolation and doesn't expect a long delay for the fight to be rescheduled. And the illness for Luke might not be a good thing for Garcia as he will lose the fight and miss out on lucrative contests against the world champions at lightweight. But Garcia and Campbell will be shown on DAZN from the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino in California. Now, Golden Boy Promotions, the promoter for King Ryan, plan on coming up with a new date soon. Ryan, who's 22, will still stick it out with the fight rather than move on for now, which would be tempting at this point. But Campbell, who's 33, is risking a fight for Ryan and could blow his big plans with a money fight against WBA regular lightweight champion Gervonta Davis in the first quarter of 2021. Now, that's a match that expected to bring in huge pay-per-view numbers. It's going to have to wait through Ryan to get past Campbell first. Now, the Campbell fight made sense for Ryan Garcia when it was a couple of months ago, but not anymore. Ryan is now sitting on the brink of a massive payday against Tank Davis, and it doesn't need to take this risky matchup against Campbell. So it might be better for Ryan to follow British heavyweight Tyson Fury's lead by taking a soft fight before his massive contest. Fury is looking ahead to a monstrous unification against IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua in 2021, pushing Deontay Wilder aside with the big money fight in front of him, he opted not to fight Deontay Wilder the third time instead of taking a soft opponent and get Caballero, who was set for December the 5th. Garcia would be better off steering clear of risky contests against Gamble and instead go after the money fight against Tank Davis. Campbell has a chance to turn his career by beating the young upstart Ryan Garcia. So win-win for Campbell, but it doesn't make sense for Ryan. This is a fight that didn't make sense for Ryan when it was made, but not anymore. Ryan is about to strike it rich by fighting Tank Davis in 2021. Garcia doesn't need to tiptoe potential headaches. That's a dangerous fighter like Campbell can bring to him. This is Campbell's World Cup match, and he's going to be totally psyched when the time comes. So we'll see how it shakes. As there it is, Luke Campbell tested positive for the C19. Ryan Garcia, fight postponed, and Garcia could be looking at Tank Davis. So, to me, you're familiar with Ryan Garcia. What do you think about him moving on from the Campbell fight to look at a 2021 matchup with Tank Davis after he takes a softer opponent?
Yeah, I would like to see it, but so I want to see Ryan Garcia get tested. I don't think he ever been tested. Let's see where his heart and his see if he can actually take take somebody that can give it to him just as well as he gives it to his opponents. I want to see if he can really take it. He ain't been tested, man, as far as his heart and his toughness. For for what I've seen, I don't think he's been tested yet. He's a little golden boy. They try to make another little golden boy, make a little cash cow. They try to make him out of. By him, dodging a real threat to his, him losing. That's what they've been doing with him. So I would like to see him, go against somebody, that's going to really bring it to him and see how he react then. Until then, I was like, okay, we'll see. Like I say, I'm not impressed with Ryan Garcia right now.
And I agree with you, bro, and that's the bottom line. Like I said, he don't want no part of Tank Davis. He's trying to look for the money. That'll be a dangerous fight because, they've been, like you said, they've been cherry-picking fights for this kid and trying to create him. He has a big following on Instagram. A lot of them, Tank Davis is the wrong opponent for him, but they're looking at the belts. They're looking at the money day, and that's that. And we'll see. I think Ryan Garcia gets killed against I'm just going to be real. I like the kid. He got fast hands. He still got a lot to learn. He's a little bit too cocky, a little bit too arrogant, and Gervonta Tank Davis would bash the literally fuck out this kid. I'm just going to keep it real with you. He can dance around all he wants, but he can't get away from Tank Davis. Tank Davis almost killed Leo Santa Cruz in there. That kid was on the ground, had people concerned the way he smashed that kid, and you imagine what he can do against Garcia. Santa Cruz is a tough fighter, and Tank Davis smashed the piss out this kid so bad that it was just a scary thing. The way his head jetted back, it was a dangerous situation. And okay, if Ryan thinks he can deal with that, we'll see. That'll do it for this episode of Ring Kings Boxing. I thank everybody involved for joining Ring Kings Boxing today. It was been a long show. Had a lot of stuff to talk about in the show, but I appreciate y'all chiming in. If you're not a subscriber to Ring Kings Boxing, feel free to hit the subscribe button, share the links, and help us build the channel together. Thank y'all for joining us on Ring King Boxing. Much love to you. I'm Big Q. That's to me. Thank y'all. Peace.
Peace.
You're now listening to the Ring Kings Boxing on the PRO Media Network.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top-flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.